See, when I was young and I told people I wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, a fireman, a police officer, first thing they said, you can't do it. You're going to be dead or in jail by the time you're 18.
Tyrone Flowers grew up unwanted and poor in a Kansas City ghetto. He spent his entire childhood fighting to survive.
My mother made it very clear that she didn't want to be a parent, and my grandmother stepped in and took custody of me and raised me with her 12 other children. Living in a home with rats and roaches and no air in the summertime. You know, sometimes you would have to borrow food from your neighbors or your friends, you know, just sometimes to have a meal for that day.
His grandmother worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. Tyrone was left in the care of his aunts and uncles.
Basically, my parenting came from teenagers. So at an early age, I was exposed to drugs, sex, alcohol. I can remember getting high at the age of 6. Everything that they exposed me to, I wanted to be because I thought that was success. I thought that was positive.
When he was 7 years old, his grandmother became too sick to care for him. Child Protective Services removed Tyrone from her custody. He spent the next 3 years in foster homes.
The first thing I can remember being told that I would never amount to anything. It seemed as if they were trying to tear me down. I was abused physically, mentally, and emotionally. And their form of punishment was to place me in a basement overnight with cobwebs and concrete. And I remember banging on the door at the age of 8, just asking, you know, please let me out. I won't do it no more.
Tyrone became a ward of the state. He was transferred to 8 different group homes in 6 years because he constantly fought with residents and staff.
And I became very angry at this point because I didn't understand why wasn't I living with one of my relatives and my family members. I was labeled with a learning disability, behavioral disorder, emotional disorder. I had a strong authority problem, and that meant that I wasn't going to listen to nobody. I was constantly getting kicked out of school. I was very defensive. I was taught all my life to defend yourself. Don't let nobody talk bad to you. Don't let nobody walk over you. And so I thought it was me against the world.
The one bright spot in his life was his ability to play basketball. At 17, he was even offered 3 college scholarships. But one day he got into an argument with a teammate off the court that changed the course of his life.
I threw up my guards thinking we were going to fight, and he pulled out a .357 Magnum and shot me 3 times. I just thought, you know, okay, I'm just going to go to the hospital. They're going to patch me up. I'm just trying to be strong and saying everything's going to be fine, you know. I'm going to heal, then I'm going to get him back.
But a bullet had struck Tyrone in the spine, and he was paralyzed. He was told he would never walk, much less play basketball again. For the next 2 years, he plotted his revenge.
I have to get this guy back, and I was blinded by that. I just couldn't wait till I got through the healing process so I can plan to either kill this guy or put him in a wheelchair. And it was a 2-year process of trying to figure out how to get him back and not go to jail.
During that time, he started going to church. For the first time, he saw men that he could look up to. Tyrone wanted to become a Christian, but knew there was something holding him back.
Part of salvation is forgiveness. And I wasn't ready to forgive the guy that shot me so I can be forgiven by God. And if I wanted to have that relationship that I longed for as a kid, to fill that empty void, I had to go to God on his terms.
That afternoon, Tyrone talked with God.
God, I really want this relationship with you. I want it to be authentic. I don't want to be a hypocrite. And so I decided right then and there, I prayed, gave my life to Christ, and I forgave the guy that shot me. And then the next day I called him up on the phone and told him, I said, you know, on my end, I'm letting it go. Once I received salvation, I was really big on finding my purpose because, you know, I truly believe God saved us for a reason, because I realized I couldn't use my body to be successful. I had to use my mind because I wanted to get out of poverty.
He went to the University of Missouri and discovered that he was a natural leader. Tyrone earned a law degree and eventually started Higher Impact, an organization dedicated to helping at-risk urban kids in Kansas City.
Now, when the kids I work with say, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer, I am that living testimony that they can do it. And I always tell people, only time you're disabled in life is when you're working outside of God's purpose. Because whatever God calls you to do, he will enable you to do it. So I'm perfectly able to do what God has called me to do.
Tyrone says his decision to forgive the man who shot him opened the door for the good things in his life today.
Out of the 22 years I've been in this wheelchair, me and the guy that shot me, we've been friends 20 of those years. Living a life of revenge, anger, and frustration, it does you no good. I mean, all it does is eat you up on the inside. You'll never become whole by, getting someone back. I mean, you become whole by accepting Jesus Christ into your life